Let's talk about the Dutch test, or the dried urine test for comprehensive hormone, when I would recommend this test to a patient, and other situations where I would be more apt to lean towards blood work. Let's start with a couple things that I really like about this test. Number one, it is a urine test, so you can do this at home. It's very easy. Number two, it includes 4 strips that you do throughout the day. This is really great when we're looking at cortisol assessment, because cortisol, your stress hormone, does fluctuate throughout the day. So providing the 4 urine samples gives us a really good idea. Are you getting the appropriate spike in cortisol in the morning, and are you getting the appropriate low before bedtime? I also really like that this test is able to provide insight in terms of the amount of cortisol being produced, as well as the amount of cortisol being metabolized. We do see higher amounts of metabolized cortisol in individuals with more abdominal obesity, and it can provide insights into how we can assist that patient to metabolize cortisol more efficiently. I also really like how this test shows the way that hormones like estrogen are being broken down or metabolized in the body. It can also show us the interactions between hormones. How much of your estrogen is being converted to testosterone, how much is your testosterone being converted to DHT or the super testosterone. So this conversion is really helpful, not only in managing symptoms, but if we are considering hormone replacement therapy, it's important to understand if we are providing more exogenous hormones, how are those hormones going to be converted and broken down in the body. For women who are considering any form of hormone replacement therapy, whether it's hormones in the form of birth control, hormone-based birth control, or HRT, hormone replacement therapy, we want to know how your estrogen is being metabolized. Because if it's going down this red pathway or the 16-OH pathway instead of the green pathway,
I already know.
more damaging.
Everything she just said in there was kind of true, but not kind of true at the same time. So as a physician, this is important. I want to communicate with you the business of practicing medicine. When I run a lab through your insurance, I'm not making money on that. And I want to do that. I want to run it through your insurance. I don't need to make money on labs. It's that my business model is not, my business model has got to be different from, say, like a restaurant or a supermarket or whatever. My business model needs to be one where I need to be thinking about how I can get the most information for you through your insurance. I need to be able to negotiate the best prices with you, for you. I need to make sure that you're getting the best care with the least amount of harm done to you. Now, when it comes to like these boutique testing companies, there's a place for them and there's validity to them. There's importance to having some of these boutique labs. I know that, and there's some that I use. They're good. But there's a certain amount of marketing and sales that go in there, and there's certain profitability to the physician to sell these labs in their offices. And I know that. I've seen people charge, $600-700 for a food allergy panel that costs them to buy and use in their office, like a hundo, about $100, and then the physician will end up selling it for like $600-700. That happens. It happens. It's completely unethical. Dutch testing falls into this category quite a bit, in my opinion. The reason why is this. You could get all those labs done through your insurance at a reasonable price through your insurance. So your insurance would cover it. I can run your estradiol. I can run your estrone. I can run your testosterone, your free, your total testosterone. I can run all of those metrics and understand what's going on based upon your lab work. And then when I have the research next to it, your results, please know the research was done not using urine. The research in your hormones that we're using to figure out how to treat you was all done in blood and serum. So when you're treating someone with hormone replacement therapy, and you're guided by research, and you're guided by the text, you're guided by the standards of care that are established, you're not using urine at all, ever. You're only using serum because that's what's been researched and used in the studies. Now, if there's studies done just with urine, sure, we'll use those, but there aren't. These companies are trying to get money in their direction by selling labs that you don't quite need at a price that isn't necessarily good. Further, with cortisol, I use LabCorp or Access Medical Labs out of Jupiter, Florida. Let me just plug them for a second. And I don't get anything from them, okay? But Leo, if you're watching this, Leo, I love you. I've known this guy for 20 plus years. He runs that lab out of Florida. Most ethical man ever. I just love him. I love his company. So Access Medical Labs, they're a good one. I get no kickback. Maybe he'll give me a hug when I see him next conference, though. But he's a great guy. Anyway, I diverge. When it comes to testing cortisol, salivary cortisol, it's covered by your insurance. Or I think it's $100 for those 4 tests is our charge, what we charge people for the 4 cortisol times 4 saliva testing, which is, I think that's the wholesale on it. I'm pretty sure that's what wholesale is on it. So it's cheaper, I know, than the Dutch testing. So you're like, Brendan, is it all about money? Kinda. Money plays a role, because if you're ethically geared towards making money on selling your labs to your patients, and you're not trying to figure out how to get to the lab to the patient in the best way for them, but you're trying to figure out how to get the lab to the patient with the money that's going to be in your pocket, your ethics are no longer present. And now I question every single decision you make as a human being in that room. Every one of them. It's that bad. When we run labs with patients, our goal is to get data, not money. Again, it's not to say that all boutique labs are bad. They're not. And sometimes urinary testing is going to be important. And we use them for heavy metal testing with people who've been exposed to heavy metal toxins like, mercury, lead, cadmium, people who've had breast implant illness. We're going to be testing them for platinum, among others. There's things we do in these cases. And there's these boutique labs that are serving a good purpose. But again, we want to use what we can with insurance. And I'm not going to justify using a boutique lab by using, but I could test these downstream metabolites of estrogen and I could do this and make this look good, because I could do that with your insurance-based labs too. And if you don't have insurance, I could still use like a lab company like Access Medical Labs or LabCorp, and to a lesser degree SnoreQuest. I can use them and get wholesale pricing on you, which is still less expensive than Dutch testing. It's how it is. So when it comes to testing, you have to figure out whether they're trying to make money off of you or they're trying to figure out if you're good. And 2, you have to say, are they using data points that are in the research and widely understood in medicine, or are they just using this boutique lab value because, again, it's fancy and they can make money on it? I hope this helps. If you made a video like this, or you have a video, or you've had an experience, or you've anything like that, shoot it to me. Send me that video, and I will try and use it in one of these reactions. Thanks for tuning in.